Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So, in the endeavor of pursuing contemporary developments or issues, let's have a look at few recent developments. Yes. Of course, this has been in news continuously. It's not a new thing that the world started considering plastics as not so useful after all. Please understand that there are a lot of questions which revolve around plastics, by the way. Now, of late, we are considering that plastics, by the virtue of their non-biodegradable nature, by the virtue of their presence as physical mass, resulting in the form of a hazardous, potentially hazardous solid waste, having adverse health impacts on humans and animals, and considered as disadvantageous to the balance of marine ecosystems or the health of the aquatic ecosystems in general. So, considering all these things, the Central Pollution Control Board in the recent past has taken a decision to prohibit, to ban. So, what do you mean by prohibit or ban here? Right from manufacturing. Nobody is supposed to manufacture certain kind of plastics which are used only once, which are supposed to be. Let's not bring the Indianness here, because we are masters in using, reusing, and then using them forever. So we use kind of one instrument, one physical thing for multiple purposes. That's not the criterion here, which are manufactured to be used once. Those types of plastics are called as single-use plastics. It depends for how many purposes or how many times you use it, but they are supposed to be used only once. When you talk about plastics, a little basics would be of great help to us. Please remember, plastics are classified based on resin identification number. That's how across the globe, across the countries, across our own country, categorizes, classifies plastics based on resin identification number, RIN. If you have a plastic container with you, just turn it over, look at the bottom, you'll have a number ranging from 1 to 7. What do they mean? So, as you can see here, they are of 7 in number. It's called as resin identification number. That indicates the composition of plastic. Based on the composition of plastic, the nature, the recyclability, potential harmful effects or hazards, and their uses would be understood. So, what is this resin identification number, and how would it help us to identify different types of plastics and relatively to identify their potential harmful nature? So, ranging from 1 to 7. So, very popular one is what? Polyethylene terephthalate. Most of your plastic, the bottles in which you consume fluids or liquids, carbonated beverages, or for that matter, mineral water, soft drinks, beverages, all these containers are made of polyethylene terephthalate. And please remember, polyethylene terephthalate has got one potentially harmful substance called as aldehydes. So, if you have number 1 underneath the plastic container you are using, that container is made of a substance called as polyethylene terephthalate in general. Number 2 is high density polyethylene. Please remember, the manufacturing process in general is polymerization. Okay. What does that mean? Can we write somewhere? Okay. It's difficult to understand machines, isn't it? On this itself? Great. Great. So, the process is polymerization. That means individual components which are primarily products of petroleum or crude oil, which are brought together by plasticizers or rubberizing agents or binding agents. These binding agents are the culprits concerned with the potential harmful or hazardous nature of plastics. Please understand this. For example, polyethylene terephthalate has got aldehyde as a plasticizer. So the crude oil extracts are turned into plastics through a process called as plasticization or polymerization, and the agents used are plasticizers or rubberizing agents. Hence you have that unbreakable property attributed to plastics. Unbreakable, soft, supple, malleable nature, flexible nature to plastics. So these agents in general meet the criteria of ideal toxin. Please understand this. Contemporary developments are like tip of the iceberg. Like a news item or event you read in the newspaper wouldn't be sufficient for you to answer a few questions posed by UPSC. You have to dwell deeper. It is just the tip of the iceberg. Please understand this. Basics would help you to understand. So here, these plasticizers or rubberizing agents are the culprits which actually are responsible for the long shelf life of plastics, which is advantageous in certain scenarios and not so advantageous as far as environmental or ecological balance is concerned. Please remember, it is a double-edged sword. You understand that? That means one edge, you can protect yourself. On the other edge, you may kill yourself. We did not think of all these things while manufacturing because plastics are considered to be wonder substances like benzene. These were considered as wonder chemicals which transform human lives forever. Don't you think so that plastics play a very important role in your day-to-day lives? Hospitals won't run if there are no plastics, trust me. There is no healthcare establishment which runs without plastics. You understand that? Various types of plastics are used in a medical setup. Imagine your day-to-day life. Imagine in what kind of scenarios you are associated with plastics. The pen you are trying to put in your mouth is made of plastic. Come on. Yes? The spectacles are made of plastics. You understand that? You are intricately intertwined with plastics. Imagine certainly that tomorrow there are no plastics in the world. They disappeared. It is challenging. In that way, we have modified our lives, and suddenly now comes CPCB, hey, no more plastics, okay? Sorry, it's not so easy. What does that mean? It takes time. To live life, hating plastic, takes time. Yes. It is similar to, decreasing the usage of fossil fuels. Can you imagine your model of economic growth and development without using fossil fuel in any form? Let it be coal, or oil, or gas. Can you imagine your life? What would happen to a country like India if suddenly fossil fuel usage stops? Growth and development halts. That's over. You become history. You understand this? We can't imagine. On one hand, we are using. On the other hand, we are saying that it is not so good. Let's stop it. Let's phase it out. It's the dilemma we are living in. Yes. So these plastics in general have these plasticizers or polymerizing agents or rubberizing agents which actually meet the criteria of ideal toxin. What do you mean by ideal toxin? Please understand this. Ideal toxin. In general, you must have read that plastics are toxic. Yes? What makes them toxic? If there is a question, you should be able to answer. They meet the criteria of ideal toxin. What is an ideal toxin? Water immiscible, insoluble in water, but soluble in fats. You understand this? Especially when it comes to polyethylene terephthalate, it is soluble in fats. What do you mean by fats? Fatty acids and glycerols. It's pretty simple. Milk? Yes. Clarified butter? Yes. Any product which is kind of dairy in simplest possible terms, or vegetable oils or animal oils. Yes. Meat? Yes, of course. Yes. So the ideal toxin is that which is not soluble in water in general and is soluble in fat or fats. Number one. Number two, they have long shelf lives. They are biologically non-reactive in nature. You'll understand this. And they tend to bioaccumulate, bioconcentrate, and biomagnify. You must have studied about all these basic things, LKG stuff, enough. Yes? They have the tendency to bioaccumulate, to bioconcentrate, and to biomagnify. So biomagnification was multiple times UPSC, both preliminary and mains question. What is biomagnification? It tends to get stored in organisms, and the apex consumer will have the maximum concentration of such substances, and which will be very harmful to them. And then, there's diclofenac, vultures, the same thing. Multiple times a question. Yes? Diclofenac, ideal toxin. Vultures, it is toxic. But for cattle, it's not so toxic, diclofenac. What is alternative to diclofenac? Don't look at me like that. Don't threaten me. What is the alternative to so-called toxic diclofenac to vultures? Meloxicam. Yes? Meloxicam? Yes. Getting back here. So, ideal toxin. So, these are the criteria. Long shelf lives, insoluble in water, fat soluble, non-reactive with tissues. They tend to bioaccumulate, bioconcentrate, biomagnify. These are the criteria for any substance to be called as an ideal toxin. And these plasticizers or rubberizing agents, they fit into these criteria of ideal toxins. That means, you can imagine that, okay, what if we pour water into plastic, or we store water in plastic containers? Is it harmful? Please remember, it is not that it is harmful immediately, but for how long you store, number one. Number two, what is the temperature and chemical composition of the fluid or liquid you are storing inside a plastic? Ideal toxins in general at the Hdpe, standard temperature and pressure, are stable. Only under Hdpe or Ntp, normal temperature and pressure, they are stable. If the temperature and pressure gradients vary, their behavior varies. They become unpredictable. Hence, you are not supposed to store warm water or liquids or fluids or any stuff in plastics. Or you are not supposed to heat the stuff by keeping them in plastic containers, because heat destabilizes and changes the properties of these ideal toxins, plasticizers, rubberizers. Can we quote any examples to such plasticizers or rubberizing agents which are used in the polymerization process of plastics? One example in PET is aldehyde. A potential toxin is considered as a gender bender. You must have studied about this. This is a civil service mains question. Gender bender. What is gender bender? Is this UPSC class? I mean, civil service exam class? Yes? I guess I'm not in a wrong class. Yes. So these cause endocrine disruptions. What do you mean by endocrine? We are not linking 377 here, and we are not against the rainbow revolution. Yes, a rainbow revolution in the LGBT perspective. LGBT flag, rainbow color. You know that? There are no boundaries what to study and what not to study for UPSC civil service examinations. So change your expressions. Yes? You understand that? You can't be surprised. What's happening here? Sorry. You can't afford to be surprised. We can talk anything and everything here. And that would be part of your syllabus. Whether you accept or not. You get it? Yes. So, aldehydes in general cause endocrine disruptions or disturbances or imbalances. Imagine females without estrogen, and males without testosterone. Surprise, surprise. Don't you think so? And these cause endocrine disruptions. Hormonal imbalances. You understand that? Yes. And then these also are potentially carcinogenic in nature. Because these polymerizing agents or plasticizers can dissolve heavy metals in them like lead, cadmium, which tend to bioaccumulate in the brains and nerves of young children. What kind of future are you dreaming of? Future filled with idiots? Or future filled with mentally retarded children? That means by using plastics, you are compromising your future and country's future. Well, that looks very deadly warning. Yes? So aldehydes. Likewise, polycarbonates are rich in what? Very popular, bisphenol A. Yes? Very popular. Multiple times a question, preliminary. Bisphenol, potential carcinogenic agent. Carcinogenic means cancer causing. Let's go back to school. Yes? Bisphenol is present in polycarbonates. And all your cheap plastics are made of polycarbonates. They're so cheap that they don't even mention the number 7 on them. That cheap is cheap. Do you understand this? If the plastic container you are using doesn't have a number, get your health insurance immediately. If that has got a number, you can predict what kind of diseases you would be suffering from in the future. You get it? You have a plastic bottle? What's the number? Underneath? Yeah, yes, please? That's a pet. Be careful. You understand this? You get it? It's live. You are living the life to die. Yes? So, for that purpose, these numbers are useful. These are usable. You understand this? Resin identification number. We don't talk useless things here. Hdpe, high density polyethylene. High density, the name itself is like, very soothing, isn't it? Yes? High density. So we'll have multiple polymerizing agents in Hdpe materials in general. Yes. So, and then we have PVC, one of the deadliest plastics. PVCs, vinyl group in general acts as a free radical. Please understand this. Vinyl group in PVC, polyvinyl chlorides. Vinyl group acts as, in general, a free radical. What is a free radical? A destabilizing agent. Concerned with? What it does is, for example, you have an atom, and you have a nucleus, and you have orbit, and then you have electrons. In general, electrons occur in pairs, and these free radicals would take out one electron. Single, ready to mingle, do jingle, nothing. This fellow becomes unstable and behaves erratically and in unpredictable manner, and this fellow goes to the neighboring atom and grabs one electron from the neighboring. So this instability spreads. So what? Ultimately, this instability would affect the DNA in cells, and DNA becomes unstable. Two possible outcomes. Either the cell dies, no issues, just like brain damage. If the brain gets damaged, two possible outcomes. Either you die or you go crazy. You understand this? If DNA gets damaged, cell dies, or one of the principal responsibilities of DNA is to control cell division, and that cell division goes erratic, and cell start dividing in an uncontrollable manner, resulting in unwanted, uncontrollable, and large lumps of cells form. And those lumps of tissues are called as cancers. You understand that? Lumps, masses of cells, which are unwanted, uncontrollable, unregulated. So that is how these free radicals act as carcinogenic agents. You have to understand this. If cells are rapidly dividing, in whom there would be rapidly dividing cells, very young children, or people who have undergone organ transplantations, or people who already have cancers or have undergone a surgery, healing process, rapid cell division, please understand this. Post-operative conditions in patients. Rapidly dividing cells get affected by these free radicals more. Pregnant women, you have to understand this. So they absorb these free radicals more than others. And if in children these activities occur, they act as, or in pregnant women to the embryo, if these substances, free radicals occur, we call such substances as teratogens. And the consequences are teratogenic in nature because they cause birth defects. These should be normal to you. These are regular stuff. Yes. So PVC, deadly. Low density, thin, often cheap plastics. Yes. Low density polyethylene and polypropylene. Adhesives, rubberizing agents. Glues. Plastic, glues. Glue gun, all those, yes. Polypropylene. And then you have polystyrene. In Old Rajendra Nagar, you go to Delhi, Old Rajendra Nagar, the coffee and tea are served in this polystyrene glasses. Deadly it is. The plastic nuggets, small plastic, microplastics, they arise from polystyrene. Please understand this. They get accumulated in your body, and then the outcomes are unpredictable. Yes? And then comes your polycarbonate. What is polycarbonate? Chinese plastic. China bazaar. That's over. You understand this? Most of the plastics which are sold on the roadsides, you understand this? Pick any one, 1 rupee only. Pick any, what is that? 10 bucks, 99 rupees, all these things. So they are rich in bisphenol a cheap plasticizer or rubberizing agent, which easily gets dissolved in liquids or fluids when temperature increases. Yes. So this is how the resin identification number is useful to understand. And based on these numbers, we also have some application. Which types of plastics with which RIN are recyclable to what extent? So that we can minimize the so-called damage or harmful effects either to human lives, human health, or animals, or to the environment. Yes. So PET to some extent, yes, recyclable. And then you have the high density polyethylene, because of its density, can be modified into something else without affecting the environment or human health. And then comes your vinyl group, very toxic. Even recycling will not reduce their potential hazardous nature. Hence, it is not usually accepted for recycling in general. Yes. And then low density. It can easily enter the bodies of animals and humans because of its low density. Yes. And then polypropylene, yes, recyclable. And then polystyrene and polycarbonates are not accepted for so those which are not accepted for recycling, which are not recyclable in a safe manner, in general, those are the substances which are used for single use. Please understand this. What do you mean by single use? Cannot be used for any other purposes later on. What do you mean by that? Are not recyclable. That's how RIN can be of another help to you. Did you understand that? That is why you should know about the numbers present on plastic containers. Now, having that knowledge, yes, we'll go back. Yes. The Central Pollution Control Board in India has advised the governments to ban. Ban what? Ban manufacture. That means managing a hazard at source itself. This is called as managing something at source. It's a hazard. We should manage it at source itself. Import, yes. We also import a lot of plastics, plastic containers, packages. Yes. And then stocking, storage, distribution, sale and use. That means everything about single-use plastics must be prohibited or banned. Yes. Banned from July 1st. Did it get implemented? Well, that's the difference between ideals and reality. Do you understand this? What you read in books and what you see in the world. There is a difference. It is visible to you. Do you understand this? And this is what causes ethical dilemma. Whether you have to live life in accordance with others or you have to live life in accordance with your individual values. Well, what are you made of? This dilemma or conflict often makes you resign from your civil service responsibilities. Many people, even after getting recommended to service, they resign. They leave. Why? This gap between ideals and reality. It hurts. If your imagination is in clouds and your feet are on the ground, it hurts. And if you are sensitive enough, you're out of the game. Do you understand this? That's what happens. So, ban. So, single-use plastics, especially those which are non-recyclable. It's pretty simple, quite direct. Yes. So CPCB banned single-use plastics such as, we have a lot of examples. If you want, if you like pictures or diagrams, this would be of great help to you. What do you mean by single-use plastics? And in what ways human lives are connected with single-use plastics? If you have that question, you can have a look here. So plastic carry bags, yes. You know, surprise thing, civil service exam preparing candidates, aspirants, are taking the coffee and tea in plastic carry bags, parcel. How many of you done that? It's okay. You need to be shameless here. It's okay. But don't worry, there are no judges here. Don't worry about it. Don't try to be one. How many of you have done that? Taking coffee or tea parcel in a plastic cover. Bhaiya, parcel to my roommate. How many of you have done that? You don't have to act. Live. Well, I did it when I was normal. Yeah, normal. Thank you for being normal. You understand that? Not now. Not when I was preparing. Because what you learn should make a difference in the way you live. Otherwise, either you're not learning or you're not understanding why you're learning. That's over. In both ways, you lose. Yes. So, the coffee or tea shops, they have these covers. So, you have to look at these subjects in your surroundings. You have to experience them. That's how you learn. Only then it makes a difference in your lives. Yes. And then earbuds. How many of you are using earbuds on day-to-day basis or weekly, monthly, or your roommates' earbuds? How many of you? Yes? Okay, others? You're not cleaning your ears. What are you? Like, okay. Now, if you clean, that's a problem. If you don't, then that's another problem. Life is, yes? So, earbuds with plastic. Well, I use a wooden stick. Okay. There's an alternative. Yes? You can also try. It's okay. Yes? Plastic sticks for balloons in general. And then plastic flags. Twice in a year, you become patriotic, isn't it? Because others are trying to be. If nobody else is trying to be, you also won't be trying. Don't you think so? Yes? Roadside, small children, young children will be selling these plastic flags. And some of you would put it here. Yes? Don't try such things. You don't have to show. Yes? So, candy sticks, lollipop, Jolly Rancher. Yes, that's single-use plastic. That's very harmful. Yes. Ice cream stick, plastic. You know all these things, yeah? Yes. So, thermocol. Can you imagine your school life without thermocol? We can't imagine. But, see that. Yes. So, disposable crockery, ready to use, single use, plates, hotels and all these things. Yes. These are around us. Yes. Plastic cup, glass, disposable. Yes. So, forks, spoons, knives, straw, birthday cake cutting knife, they'll give free. That's over. So, if you can understand what you're using and see them here, you will not be forgetting about all these things. You don't have to revise all these things. Yes? So, wrapping or packing films around sweet boxes. Packing. Hey, birthday packing. Do birthday packing. All that packing, yes. Invitation cards and cigarette packets. Packing around cigarette packets, single use. Plastic or PVC banners, less than 100 micron stirrers. Yes, all these things are examples of the single use plastics, which are, well, supposedly CPCB's advisory that we should ban all these things in general. Yes. So, Menderu Foundation, where is this? It is from Australia, Perth, Australia. This is a philanthropic organization which works in the field of most serious and pressing urgent issues which are affecting globally, which are affecting humans globally, which are affecting environment globally. They take up only serious and challenging issues. It is a philanthropic organization. It is similar to a charitable organization for the welfare of people and earth. Mindaru Foundation. They conducted a research and they have published these findings that 1/3 of global plastics produced are single-use plastics. Globally, it's a bigger picture. Please understand this. It's not about Hyderabad alone. Yes? 98% are manufactured from fossil fuels. That means you are increasing your dependency and usage of fossil fuels, which again are not so eco-friendly. Yes. And then majority of plastics discarded, 130 million metric tons globally. So single use, that means you use them once and you discard them. So by discarding, what happens here? You are contributing to solid waste and you are disposing them in water bodies. You are often causing a marine debris accumulation, plastic debris accumulation, all these things. This is according to Mindaru Foundation here, and from July 1st, CPCB advised that this or such type of single-use plastics be banned across the country. Yes. These are examples. These are the value addition components concerned with the resin identification number, and why should you be worried about these numbers on the plastic containers? Yes, and the health hazards we discussed. Plastics are carcinogenic in nature. They cause endocrine disruptions. Often they also cause immune system suppression. You understand this? Immune system suppression, you know that. What happens to your immunity? It becomes lesser and lesser effective, and then you become vulnerable or susceptible to opportunistic infections in general. Yes, this is a news here. Next, it started already with a 75-day agenda spanning till 17th September. What is in September for you? Mains. You understand this? 17th September 2022. You understand this? What is this here? International Coastal Cleanup Day. It is in 17th September. Why are we worried about it now itself? That is the next question. Why is it in news now? Isn't it? Yes. So, subtract 75 days, come back 75 days from 17th September. Give me a date. I believe that 70% of UPSC civil service exam aspirants are engineers. They're supposed to be good at numbers. What are you good at? Give me a date. September 17th minus 75 days. What's the date? Which month, which day? Don't look at the board. Yes? Okay, enough of your exercise here. That is 3rd July. You understand this? 75-day exercise. So there is a link between starting point and ending point with a gap of 75 days. Why 75? What is that India is going through concerned with the number 75? Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Remember these things. You don't have to look at the material. Just think. You understand this? 75 years of independence. 7,500 kilometers of coastline, 75 beaches. So what a coincidence. You get it? Now you can look at this. Yes. 75 beaches, cleanup process. Again, a major concern with marine and coastal pollution is again plastics. Do you understand this? When you go to any beach, sea beach, what you look at is not serene sands and a picturesque view of the ocean, sunrise, sunset. No. Plastics everywhere. The biscuit packets, the chips packets, the Lays, and then whatnot made of plastics. You understand this? And these are contributing to marine debris, and the marine fauna or the marine organisms are consuming them, considering that they are food stuff. And they are becoming vulnerable and they are dying, and marine biological diversity is getting affected. That is one. And the sheer aesthetics of beaches is also getting affected. Aesthetic means eye pleasing. That means the tourism gets affected. Tourism gets affected, your economy to some extent gets affected. You understand this? So this is second. Third is what? The coastal or marine ecosystems in general, it will result in the leaching of toxins arising out of this debris, plastic debris, that will accumulate in the groundwater table, and the same water would be consumed by the coastal habitations, people living in or communities closer to the shore. So across dimensions, the marine plastic pollution is hazardous or harmful. Hence, the clean-up process. This is considered as the first, one-of-a-kind, lengthiest beach cleanup process in the world. Okay, that's a record. Even for that purpose, you can remember this. 7,500, close to 7,500 kilometers of coastline. Across the coastline in India, this program is taken up. It is to create awareness amongst masses, people, about the importance of the clean oceans. Well, we cite, our government of India cites the historical writings that right from Rigvedic times, PIB mentions about all these things, yes? Right from Rigveda, the significance of oceans and ocean flora and fauna and human lives, how these are connected is mentioned in Rigveda itself. Who said this? PIB. That should be the authentic source for your contemporary developments. Please understand this. By now you must be aware of it. Press Information Bureau, UPSC, Civil Service Examination, 2022, 10th August. Thank you for being alive. Yes. So right from historical times across the Dharmashastras or literary sources, historically speaking, the significance of clean oceans is mentioned. Keeping that in view and the present dilapidated condition of oceans and beaches, this program has been taken up by India, which is one of the lengthiest, first of its kind, lengthiest beach cleanup process. So what is the theme here? Swachh Sagar, clean ocean. Surakshit Sagar, safe. Safe ocean for whom? Don't you think your lives are connected too? Okay, we live in Hyderabad, we have got nothing to do with oceans whatsoever, you might say. Are you serious? Are you real that your lives are not connected with oceans? If something happens, something wrong happens in oceans, don't you think your lives here in Hyderabad would be affected either directly or indirectly? Yes? Okay, the seafood, number one. Get it? Seafood. For the purpose of your own health, seafood. And then the marine biological diversity and the coastal communities or human habitations which are close to the shores. Their lives directly will get affected, and livelihoods of millions of families who are directly dependent on the oceans for their survival. Yes. So 75 years of independence, 75 beaches across the coastline here. This is in line with the International Coastal Cleanup Day, which in general falls on 3rd Saturday of September every year. This year it falls on 17th, I guess, yes. 3rd Saturday of September every year is International Coastal Cleanup Day. So that day you can go to beach and clean up, pick up few plastics and then throw them in the trash can and then get back and showcase your picture, selfie, saying that you participated in it. Now this is something longer than that single click. It's a 75-day process across the coastline of India. So this invites people's participation directly. It generates or it creates awareness amongst masses about the importance or significance of clean oceans and clean beaches, both for humans as well as marine flora and fauna. Yes. So in India, these are the nodal agencies which are coordinating to make this process happen. What are those agencies here? Ministry of Earth Sciences, number one. And next is natural, Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, the second nodal agency. Third is, as usual, the National Disaster Management Authority chaired by the Prime Minister of India, and then Indian Coast Guard. These agencies are coordinating to make this Swachh program possible. So these about Swachh Sagar, Surakshit Sagar. 3rd July. Why only 3rd July? You know this importance. Plus 75 days, it goes or it coincides with the International Coastal Cleanup Day, 17th September. That is 3rd Saturday of every September. That falls on 17th September this year. So this is in news, yes. This is very popular of late. What is that here? Totaling to 64. What are they? Ramsar Wetlands or wetlands of international importance. In the previous session also we did talk about the wetland concept. Why a wetland? What is a wetland? We did look at the official definition given by the Ramsar Convention 1971, Iran, if you remember. So wetland, a land which is wet. Okay, absolutely, yes. So, but we have some criteria here. So we can have natural wetlands, we can have human-made wetlands, we can have temporary wetlands, we can have permanent wetlands, we can have marine, saline or fresh water. You understand this? We can have inland or marine wetlands. So if the wetland is marine in nature, at low tide, the depth should not be more than. We did look at all the pictures as well in the previous session. You understand this? For example, lagoons, atolls, the brackish backwaters. Yes. So all those are wetlands. So what is the objective of talking about wetlands? Why should we talk about wetlands here? Number one is recognition and number two is conservation. Both are equally important. Please understand this. So why should we conserve wetlands here? We did talk about multiple objectives of conservation of wetlands here. We have multiple criteria. Number one is what? The aesthetic purposes. Number two, to protect the habitat of migratory species of birds. Number three is what? To provide a source of livelihood to local communities. Number four, aquatic flora and fauna, to conserve biological diversity of aquatic flora and fauna. You understand this? So overall, for ecological balance purposes, we need to conserve wetlands. So it is one concept of sustainable usage of natural resources as well. You understand this? And we did talk about Bonn Convention as well in the previous session, which talks about Convention on Migratory Conservation of Migratory Species. Yes, many birds across the continents, they fly and they visit wetlands for the purpose of breeding or for the purpose of finding food. Yes. So these wetlands of international importance are often called as Ramsar Wetlands. Ramsar is a town in Iran wherein people together fought for the conservation of that wetland, and it caught the attention of United Nations, and United Nations had a conference in Iran in the town of Ramsar in 1971 and then discussed about importance of such wetlands globally and the need to conserve them, and they came up with a convention that became a Ramsar Convention on Conservation and Responsible Utilization of Wetlands of International Importance. And India coincidentally will have 64 of such wetlands of international importance by now. So in the recent times, in the last around 2 weeks, 10 new wetlands of international importance have been added to the list concerned with India. What are they and where are they? We have two firsts here. First of such wetland of international importance in Goa and first of such wetland of international importance in Karnataka. These are firsts for those respective states. So hence we mention here. So Nanda Lake in Goa, the first wetland of international importance, that is Ramsar wetland in Goa, first ever recognized. And second one is the Rangantittu bird sanctuary. If you are into photography, you cannot forget Rangantittu. You understand this? People who take photographs of birds. It's called as a paradise of birders. Who's a birder? Who takes pictures, photographs of birds. Yes. So Rangantittu, the first wetland of international importance in the entire state of Karnataka. These are firsts, and Tamil Nadu has got a lot of. Yes. So Gulf of Mannar. If you, what comes to your mind when we say Gulf of Mannar? Gulf of Mannar primarily is a marine biosphere reserve. Please remember, we had two types of questions in the preliminary examination earlier concerned with Gulf of Mannar. Number one, it is a marine, India's only marine biosphere reserve. Number two, we have a dugong, sea cow. Dugong is a marine mammal which is found only in Gulf of Mannar Biosphere Reserve. These two were preliminary questions before. You can cross check with the previous question papers. So Gulf of Mannar now is a wetland of international importance, or Ramsar Wetland in Tamil Nadu. Yes. And then Vemanur Wetland Complex, cluster of multiple small wetlands in Tamil Nadu. Yes. Vellore bird sanctuary here, Tamil Nadu here, and Sirpur Wetland, Madhya Pradesh. Sirpur not in Telangana. So Kagaznagar you have in Telangana, not that. You understand this? Because there is every possibility of getting confused here. So hence the state's name here. And Vedantangal Bird Sanctuary in Tamil Nadu here. And Udayamarthandapuram Bird Sanctuary in Tamil Nadu. And then Kuntankulam Bird Sanctuary in Tamil Nadu. And then Satkosia got in Odisha here. So these are the names of 10 wetlands in general added to the list of wetlands of international importance in India in the past 2 weeks. These got added, making the total number of Ramsar wetlands in India to 64. That's it. Now, please remember, the H can be included or removed. It can be Acinonyx or Achinonyx. It depends how you pronounce it. Yes. So, Acinonyx or Achinonyx jubatus. What is this here? We had a person, Ramanuja, King Ramanuja Singh Dev in Chhattisgarh. He is no more. He has got a record of hunting and killing largest number of tigers and cheetahs in the world. He hunted down 1,360 tigers. He hails from a place called as Sirguz in Chhattisgarh. Sirguz is the district. Headquarters is Ambikapur, I think. Sirguz. And he hunted and killed the last 3 cheetahs in India by 1947. You understand this? And of course, sporadically, poachers killed in 1952 one last cheetah, and it is believed that the last sighted cheetah died in Hyderabad, 1957. It drowned in a well. So, for the past more than 50 years, we never have got cheetahs in India, and they are declared as extinct in Indian subcontinent. Now they live only in Africa, Sub-Saharan belt, some parts of Iran. That's it. In only 2 places you find cheetahs now. Why should we be bothered about cheetahs? You understand this? It's pretty simple. It is for the purpose of conservation of biological diversity. Please understand this. India is considered as a historical, in general, habitat of cheetahs. You understand this? That means cheetahs once used to roam India. Now, because of the poaching or hunting and killing for entertainment or for any other purposes, for example, the deforestation, all these things, urbanization also have killed them because they destroyed their habitat, natural habitat. What is the natural habitat of cheetahs here? Grasslands in general, where a larger predator is not present and smaller prey are in abundance, where the cheetah can hide and attack. You know what is the favorite meal of cheetah? Prey, black buck. You understand this? And to save black bucks, king started hunting and killing cheetahs. Did you get that link? Culture, religious beliefs, biological diversity. You understand this? This king, commoners who believed that black buck is their religious incarnation, went and pleaded to this king Ramanuja Singh Dev that our divine incarnation is being hunted down by this fellow cheetah. Do something to this cheetah. And this took up the rifle and said, I will protect your religious incarnation, and went on killing these cheetahs. And by the way, tigers also came across his hunting spree, and he killed 1,360 tigers also. And still he holds the record, posthumously too. Yes. So, extinct in India, it is considered as extinct. in general, we will not talk about IUCN Red List here. That's altogether a separate discussion. We'll talk about that when we talk about the, recently we had Tiger Day and today is Lion Day. So we'll talk about all those things, because in general, we talk about contemporary developments concerned with the previous week or previous month. So today is International Lion Day. When would we talk about this? The next. Do you understand this? Getting back. So last one being killed in 1952 by poachers or hunters. It is believed that in 1957, one last cheetah was sighted by some people. It drowned in a well in Hyderabad and died. We don't have official records for that. Yes. So extinct in India. And in general, historical range. India is believed to be a historical range for cheetahs. So we just wanted to bring cheetahs back to regain that lost glory. India is considered as home to almost all types of wild animals. And historically, mythologically also, India was considered as abode to all forms of life. It is nothing but biological diversity, richness, that's all, nothing else. Yes? So we just wanted to conserve it. Yes. So we brought these cheetahs as an onyx ubiquitous from Namibia and some parts of Africa. We are planning to bring. Yes. So Project Cheetah, we named it. We have multiple national projects for the purpose of conservation of biological diversity, especially concerned with faunal diversity. So a lot of projects are there: Project Crocodile, Project Hungle, Project Lion, Project Tiger, Project Elephant, and Project Platanista gangetica, the dolphin. We have multiple such national projects for the purpose of conservation of faunal diversity. In that endeavor, we also have now Project Cheetah. So what is this all about here? So these cheetahs, in 16 in general, it is not yet implemented. It is implemented in a phased manner. That means it takes a long time period. It is considered as it will take 4 to 5 years of time to bring in the form of a soft introduction. What is soft introduction? First, we'll get those cheetahs and provide a protected environment similar to their native habitat, and then introduce them into a protected environment which is not influenced by humans, and then we'll introduce them into open, that is wild. It is called as soft introduction. If you have studied tissue culture, you would understand this. Hydroponics, tissue culture. First we grow plants in test tubes or beakers. Then we'll go and plant them in the soil, right, or artificial soil. And then we will introduce them into natural soil. This process is called as soft introduction. Soft introduction. Just like you took birth. Do you understand this? You were introduced into the world in a very soft manner. Soft introduction. Not that you are a wild animal, but still. Yes? So, a soft introduction into India. Where? Kuno. Why Kuno is popular? Kuno is popular for some other reason as well. If you have studied biological diversity conservation, there is a project called as Asiatic Panthera leoparsica. Panthera leoparsica, Asiatic lion. Asiatic lion reintroduction project was also from Gir in Gujarat to Kuno in Madhya Pradesh. Asiatic lion reintroduction project also was to Kuno from Gir. In Gir, the natural habitat of Asiatic lion was getting destroyed by industrialization or human interference. To save these Asiatic lion, which are naturally present in Gir, we reintroduce them into Kuno. Kuno is a kind of a wild kind of protected environment in Madhya Pradesh. So Kuno Palpur National Park, Madhya Pradesh. When? In July 20th, 2022. So Government of India is giving this responsibility to National Tiger Conservation Authority. So National Tiger Conservation Authority is the nodal agency for introduction of these cheetahs into Kuno Palpur National Park. So we have in India. Yes. So introducing cheetah into the historical range in India. So now we have a potential question here. What is this Indian Oil Corporation doing here? You understand this? Why is it sponsoring 50 point total expenditure is 72 crores of introducing approximately 16 cheetahs from Namibia in Africa to India? Total expenditure incurred by the government of India is approximately 72 crore rupees. In that, majority share, that is around 2/3, is sponsored by Indian Oil Corporation. Why? Number one, as usual, corporate social responsibility, as usual. That is in accordance with the recent trend. All MNCs, all these, CPSUs, all these things, all these are following this trend of CSR, corporate social responsibility. They also participate. It is like giving back to society some part of their profits in the form of showcasing that they are also feeling the responsibility of contributing to the welfare of society in general. That is one. But in 2018, in Haryana, this Indian Oil Corporation resorted to a lot of environmental pollution and environmental degradation activities by not following some rules. Indian Oil Corporation caused environmental degradation in 2018 in Haryana. To compensate that, you understand this? Indian Oil Corporation is sponsoring the biological diversity conservation projects. One such is this. Probably the first of such is this. You will understand this. That is why Indian Oil Corporation is in the scene here. You get it? It is sponsoring 2/3 of the total expenditure incurred for the purpose of Project Cheetah, that is bringing cheetahs from Namibia and Africa to India, Kuno, Madhya Pradesh. Yes. So this is also in news here. So because this occurred in July 20th. And August 2nd, Indian Oil Corporation joined hands with National Tiger Conservation Authority and gave its consent in the name of corporate social responsibility to sponsor this program of Project Cheetah to an extent of 50.22 crore rupees. This is also in news here. Yes. Next is, of course, this is a big discussion here. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. This always will be in news because these are a coordinating body between governments of various respective countries concerned with the scientific aspects about the adverse impacts of climate change. Yes. So IPCC, once in 7 years, approximately 6 to 8 years, it's the span, the gap, the time span varies between 6 to 8 years. Once in every 6 to 8 years, this Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change releases one publication. It's a kind of report based on assessment. Hence, these reports are often called as the assessment reports on behalf of IPCC. So we have the IPCC. What is this IPCC? If the time's up, let me know. Is the time's up? Time is pretty fast on your planet. Fine, we'll try to wind this up here and we'll continue in the next session. Thanks for your time and patience. We'll see you in the next session. Thank you.